So hopefully people got that and are happy with that. So we'll have a look at the some RDFL examples now. So these are just local examples from the finals last year. So if you got any questions, get them into that chat room, or any comments. It doesn't have to be a question, but certainly if you've got a comment as well, we'd love to hear it. All right, let me close that. So just check, can someone confirm they can see the RDFL vision there up the on the page now?
Yeah, I can.
All right, great, thanks. All right, we'll make that a bit bigger. I've just turned my iPad off so to make sure that the my laptop's getting full coverage here. So here we go, some RDFL examples. I'll just turn Chris Yeen, the voice of RDFL, down. So here we go. This is not a 50-metre penalty. So watch these players come through the protected area, but they're following their men. So I've paused it there. You could see those two players there running through the zone. That is not a 50. Even though the Riddell player's on the inside, that's not a 50-metre penalty. He's close enough to his man. He doesn't want to get the guy with the foot. He doesn't want to stop him playing on. I mean, that's the thing. In local footy, they generally aren't too fussed about that. So, all right, here, I think this is a 50, and I'd like to get people's thoughts on this, and I'll just rewind it. Tell me whether you think this is 50 against... Have a look at the marquee contest. I think it's 21 from Riddell, not in the marquee contest, and then runs towards a player of the ball and then like sort of half evades him at the end to pretend that he's not interested. Just like to see what people think in the chat room, what they think. Just type it in the chat room. We'll have some chat afterwards. So there he is there. What do people think? Would you pay a 50 there particularly under the new? I'll replay it one more time. Just there, and I think I've paused it here. Yeah, beautiful. So, Dodger, I know you're on here, mate, but that's cost you a granny there. 50-metre penalty. Definitely there. So we've got to be careful of this year. All right. So here, what do we think about this one? What do we think about this one? I'll rewind it again. We're looking, and I've zoomed it in a minute, but just have a look at number 2, I think it is. Okay, so what do we think about this one? And I'll rewind it back again. Bit of feedback on this one. Just go back. Puts his hand up inside the zone. People think 50 there, or is he played on enough to let that go? Yeah, I don't know whether you call play on or what. Under current rules 50. Okay, so a few people think 50. I think this is one of those where we'd want to at least have a bit of verbal about moving him out of the zone. Moving him out. He's on that 7-metre mark probably. So I'll just go back there. Oh, it's hard to tell. I've zoomed in, but yeah, I think talk to the player. Definitely agree there, Caleb. Let's talk to him, and if he still puts his hand up and stays inside that zone, I think that's a 50-metre for sure. All right, great free kick here, and player at the back of the pack. I've put it in slow-mo from Broadford, gets out. There he goes, and that's fine. That we don't want to be pinging those this year. All right, set kick for goal. This is where I think at local footy, we're going to have to be ruthless on the 10 metres. So you could see here that, in fact, that's a pretty good distance already. I reckon I'm pretty impressed with that distance already there, but probably another metre. I don't know what others think. It's hard to tell on vision, but it needs to be 10 metres from the guy having a shot at goal. So, and they probably get a bit closer, but definitely there. I think that distance is pretty good to start, but we've got to be vigilant that that's 10 metres. And I've just paused it there for you. And probably there, the number 2 umpire needs to be back. And this was new last year for everyone. I understand that. He needs to be, and I think that's Chris there, needs to be in line with the players. So standing here somewhere. And I think this year, probably back here somewhere. I think for shots for goal, we're going to have to be much stricter on the 10 metres because that is what is in the rule book. So good call there, I think. So we'll just keep having a look. I think I've got a shot for goal. Yep, some good comments. Number 2 definitely needs to help and come down. And I think even in a 2-umpire system now, I'd like to see the number 2 come down. I just think we have to now. We need that help, and the players are used to it. So in a 2-umpire, let's do the same thing as well. And I think I've got one more, which is a kick out from fullback. I could see you raising your hand, Stevie. We'll have a chat in a minute. I'll turn everyone back on, and we'll have the last 5 minutes if anyone wants to talk. So here's a player who's taken a mark right on the goalpost, or let's say it's on the full. So we need to be vigilant here. We need to get the player back. We've got to clear that zone out completely. So this is good. There's no one here. Our umpire's about to take a fall and a tumble. But a great free kick here. For going over the mark. And he pays a 50. So I think I've got it again in slow-mo. But if you've got good set kick control, we can avoid all of this. So that is fantastic. Brings him back, falls over, no worries there. Then the problem is this player now, if we just rewind that back a fraction, that's where he marked it, and have a look where the player ends up. Well over. That's nearly an auto 50. And our umpire's giving him a little bit of grace, but he doesn't come back quick enough, and that is a 50. All right, some comments from the gallery, and I'll open everyone up in a minute. I just want to answer some of these. Would number 3 top of the 50 or wouldn't push up that far given 2 has gone to help? Oh, yes. So, Julian, great question. Yes, the number 3 then needs to push up because 1 and 2 have gone inside 50. So, number 3 probably comes up to about the back of the square in a 3-umpire. Yep, agree, Caleb. I think players run over the mark a lot. And what this is going to do is it's going to make us concentrate more on our set kick control, I think, and it's going to be great. All right. Excellent session. I've opened up the microphones. If anyone would like to have a comment or make a say at all, go for it.
Can you hear me, Michael?
I can, Steve. Fire away, mate.
In that last situation, when the player took the ball, took the mark, and he on the second one.
Yep.
Are we paying the 50 because he didn't come back when he was calling him back?
Yeah, I think that's where I think it's Dwayne, maybe, I'm not sure, but I think that's why he's done it, which I actually think is a bit stiff, because if I press play again, I reckon the player is coming back.
That's what I thought.
But I reckon we should have got him at the start because, yeah, you're right. Though he goes side, yeah, that's a tough 50. You're probably right, Steve. I would have liked to have seen it paid just for going over the mark straight away. Yeah. So, yeah, good pickup. Certainly probably a bit tough because the player was coming back. So, yep, fair enough.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, go for it, Chris.
Yeah, well, you can see he goes about 5 metres over it. So the fact is, coming back 2 steps like that, that's got to be a run back on one instruction. I don't think that's got anything to do with this new 10-metre zone. That's just 50 bang straight away. And I think, it's courtesy at our level to give them a chance. If you give them an instruction, they come straight running back and don't interfere.
Yeah.
But that's the best player in the league, and they're trying to curb him straight away by being on the mark and shove him up against the fence. So, Dwayne gave him, he came back 2 steps, but he needs to come back 5 metres.
And what we've got to be careful here with is that what a lot of players would do here, number 17 doesn't do it. I'll just get to the right spot. But where the 10-metre rule will come into play is that usually what they do then is they actually want to stand like there to make him go down the line. Now, if that's inside the zone, technically, if he wants to stand over near the post, I'll get a red marker. He probably needs to stand there. Would people agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's where we've got to be vigilant early on is, all right, that's fine if you still want to make them go down the line, but you've got to stand parallel with the line. You can't come around. The only place he could probably go is maybe there. Like that's probably where he could stand if he wanted to. He's got to be a long way away if they're going to come around the curve. So let's be vigilant on that one. Any other questions or comments before we finish up? And I'll just check our chat room.
I can see this.
Sorry, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go, Caleb.
Yeah. That wasn't me.
Oh, it wasn't you. Anyone else?
Sorry.
Steady?
Right.
Yeah, mate. So what I'm seeing as an issue is that, we already have a significant number of 50s paid in a game, and a frustrating thing from the player's point of view is the number of 50s we pay. And so obviously we're going to have to pay more in the early games until they get the grasp of this whole situation. I've got a feeling, and I suppose I'm generalising a little bit, we've got a couple of umpires who will go nuts on this, and I see at a community level that this is going to be an issue just with how many people we have paying 20 in a game versus how many we have paying 1 in a game. And it's going to be how we get around that. It's going to be a key issue.
Trying to make it consistent.
Yeah, you're right, Caleb and Chris. Look, I think this is with any new rule we bring in. I remember when we changed interpretation, giving the ball back, you couldn't throw it high in the air anymore. And I think it's going to happen and it'll calm down. I think all we can do is coach it really hard. And I guess in the first couple of weeks, I'm happy if umpires are really vigilant with their voice, even in seniors where we now don't say a lot. I think we've got to be in there clearing that zone. And then if they say no and you've been loud and the crowd have heard you and the coaches, then they can't argue. So I agree, Chris. I think we can't be pinging 50s for guys that, maybe cut the zone early on. I think we've just got to be a bit of common sense. I know that's a silly thing to say sometimes, but because not everyone has it. But yeah, look, we're going to warn the coaches. We're putting out something this week, so let's hope they get on board. All right, I want to make sure we finish it at 8:30. It's been hopefully a good trial. Everyone's enjoyed it. So, any last question?
Can I quickly just ask?
Yeah, go for it.
It's a little bit off topic, but like in Tasmania last year, we started that for our country games in our state league. That field umpires only have to bounce at the start of each quarter.
Yeah.
Same as you guys, or?
So we at most community levels now in Victoria, you won't see really anyone bounce except if they want to get to the VFL. They might bounce for a quarter or a half, and then that's enough. So my guess, Caleb, what I'm hearing out of the AFL is that this might be the last year of bouncing after a goal, and it will only be to start the quarters. So 4 bounces per game. That's what we're hearing out of the AFL. If it's not this year, it's probably next year. Oh, sorry,
Yeah, like
not
that's the way.
the year after.
Yeah, like that's the way we've been doing it in like state league a lot, and like only in country level, like seniors for like probably the second half of last year. So yeah, just wondering.
No worries. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up.